Welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge, and this is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news this Thursday morning. One more day to go until Man United are back in action. We've got lots to talk about this morning. Bruno Fernandes has said that he could have left Man United. He had offers. We've got a bit of a deadlock with Ugarte, Sander Berge as well. Looks like that deal could be off. Scott McTominay leaving, Amrabat waiting. Another player excited about coming to Man United, but we don't bloody want him. What else have we got? Yeah, we've just got absolutely loads that I'm all over the place, actually. There's just so much to discuss on the show this morning. Absolutely loads. You know what? I should be on Sky Sports News, actually, where this is the sort of stuff they wear. I've just realised. I've gone a bit too over the top with the casuality, smart cash this morning. But yeah, definitely would fit in perfectly. It's a shame I haven't got white trainers on. I wouldn't fit in because I've got slippers on. Yeah, lots going on and lots to get into. Oh, just before we start the show as well, big shout out to Eddie, who watches the channel, wants to be a YouTuber in the future. He's 14, he's not 56. Not follow your dreams, 56-year-olds, follow your dreams. I'm just saying Eddie's 14 and wants to be a YouTuber. Big shout out to him. And also, big shout out to Kaz, or Casimir, who is from London but lives in the States, watches the United Stand all the time. His partner Sharon has sent us a message saying, can we say happy birthday to Kaz today? Happy birthday there. Love the shout outs. That's what it's all about. We're a community, of course. Right, we've got so much to get into the show today. A couple of updates coming in from Rod Dawson in the ESPN, talking about what is happening with Sander Berge and Ugarte and why those deals are stalling. Also, what's happening with Scott McTominay. Fabrizio Romano says that Ugarte is in love with the idea of coming to Manchester United. I've got a very interesting theory about what's going on here. It's certainly deadlock. I'm not quite sure it's a setback. Stall, yes. But I think United are setting out their stall with Ineos, and I think they know exactly what they're going to do. So we'll delve into that as well, and a few other bits also, and of course delve into the comments of you as per usual. Hope you're all ready and excited for what is going to hopefully be a big 48 hours for Man United, accumulating with a Friday night win. Talking of which, we've got our Super 6 League. We launched this last week. We're very excited to be working with Super 6 and have our own exclusive United Stand Super 6 League. Many of you will have heard of Super 6 over the years. It's fantastic that we've got our own league. The link is in the description, or you can scan the QR code to join our league for Super 6. The code is UTD-S6. You can see it there. How Super 6 works is you could win a whopping £2 million this weekend. It's absolutely free to play. Also, we've got our league where you can win a £100 voucher every week playing against United Stand members and myself and the community. But the general game this week is a £2 million giveaway for the winner, and it's absolutely free to play every week. All you got to do is pick your score predictions for 6 Premier League games each game week. Now, we're not in it this week, United, but it's Arsenal Wolves, Newcastle Tottenham, Everton Brighton, West Ham Villa, Brentford Palace, and Chelsea Man City. I suspect it's because we're the Friday night game that we're not in it, but how good is your knowledge? There will be weeks when United are in it. 6 games, predict the scores. You get your points based on how many you get right. And of course, if you're up at the top, you could win that 2 million, but also bragging rights and weekly prizes in the United Stand League, UTD S6. Get involved. We will be talking about this every week, and we will be humiliating those who are crap at the bottom and shouting out everybody who's up there with me each week as well. So give it a go. UTD-S6 is the code. Scan the QR code. Go through the link in the description. We're very excited to get the United Stand Super 6 League up and running. Thank you very much to Super 6. Okay, let's fly into the show this morning. Keane is the only player to approve De Ligt, says Thomas. Great point. Rennie Mullenstein, another ex-United employee, not very happy about De Ligt and Mazraoui again. I don't get this. I just don't get this. We'll talk about it in a few minutes' time, but again, I just don't get it. Bitter and twisted, stuck living in the past, not real fans. I just don't get it. It's almost like they want us to fail. It's really, really weird, and I'm not too sure about what that's got to do with. But you know, there we go. Apparently, there's been an Omar Barada statement as well. I will find that for you, and we will read that out in a moment. But in relation to the transfer news, this is what we're getting in from Rob Dawson this morning. God, I can't even read my writing. This is really bad. Yeah, I know what that says now. This is why I don't do notes. I'm better off just freestyling. So Rob Dawson, ESPN, says that Ugarte and Sander Berge are players that Man United have had discussions with, but they are both stalling at the moment because both clubs want unrealistic transfer fees. Well, I think this is quite interesting because we know Ugarte's stalling. It's been stalling like a bloody broken down bus for the last 6 weeks. You know, Ugarte wants to come to Man United. In fact, Fabrizio Romano's update yesterday was that Ugarte is in love with the idea of coming to Manchester United. I mean, that's Fabrizio's words, not mine. He is in love with the prospect of playing for Manchester United. And George Mendes, who is this super agent, is trying to find a way between Man United, PSG and Ugarte to do the deal that everybody wants to do. And I think it will happen because everybody wants it to happen. But Rob Dawson in the ESPN is saying quite rightly that it's stalling because of the unrealistic fee that PSG want. But I think it's also interesting that the fee, the Sander Berge deal is apparently stalling as well because Burnley want ridiculous money for Sander Berge. And I don't want to be paying ridiculous money for Sander Berge at all. So I think that, look, the overarching thing is, I think in the past I would probably sit here and say, setback, delay, we need to get on with things. But I think that maybe we do. Maybe some of you do feel that we need to get moving quicker. But I think there's a very obvious way of reading this now. Deadlock, what's the word? Another word for impasse, setback, I suppose. Whatever you want to call it, we know what's going on. I mean, you can't you can't deny that at the end of the day, what's going on here is that Manchester United and Ineos are setting their stall out very, very, very clearly. We will not be taken for a ride. We will not pay stupid prices. And if it takes time to get where we need to get to, or if we don't get where we need to get to, then so be it. Branthwaite is a number one target for Ineos. He's wearing an Everton shirt this weekend. And he may well be wearing an Everton shirt all season. De Ligt was a number one target for Man United. He only signed this week, despite personal terms being done at the end of June. We will take as long as it takes to get the deal we want to get done. And if we don't get the deal we want, we won't do the deal. Now, that's not always going to be a happy medium for us as fans because we need these players now. We needed them yesterday. We needed them last summer. But we might not get them this summer. And I think it's going to work the same with exits as well. I think there's players that have had, and the feedback I've had is that there's a lot of players in that United training camp at the moment that are smiling for the cameras because there's a lot of buzz. But secretly, they're speaking to agents going, what the hell's going on here then? You know, where's my game time? What's going on? Because they don't know. It's a different Manchester United at the moment. And the feedback I've heard is that certain players don't like what's going on in the sense of they're not going to kick up a fuss because they've got no one to kick up a fuss to. No one will bloody listen to them anymore. But previously, you could sort of get what you wanted. You know, I'm not going anywhere. I'll fight for my place. And look, I'm playing against Fulham. Whereas now it's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'll fight for my place. Shit, I'm not even on the bench against Fulham. So, well, they probably will be on the bench, but you know what I mean. This is a new world now where to get where you want to get, you don't necessarily get to make those decisions instantaneously. They might take time. So I think with Ugarte, yeah, I'm sure he's in love with coming to Man United, and I'm sure Man United really want him and PSG want to sell him, but it might not happen until the end of August. And Sander Berge might be dreaming of Manchester United, and Man United might be interested, but we're not paying stupid money to Burnley, and we'll see what Burnley do in the final week of the transfer window if we're still interested. And, you know, Lindelof or Ericsson or whatever might be thinking they're going to see their last year of their contract out, but you'll be doing it from potentially the sidelines, not even that are very clearly taking place at Manchester United. And those are the decisions, what's going on here? And those are the decisions that I think need to go on at Manchester United. So I think ultimately, this is weird. It's not done this before. I tell you what, this morning show, I'm just trying to sort of keep it on an even keel because I don't know what's going on here, and I feel like I don't know whether anyone else has got it today, but I feel like I've got really bad allergies going on today as well. I don't know what it is. I feel like there will be a sneeze. Right, I don't even know what's going on here. Hold on a minute. I can't even type. Okay, it's back now. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I think altogether, apparently we froze on YouTube as well. I think it might be a connection issue somewhere. I don't know. I don't feel good today. I was fine about 45 minutes ago. I feel like I've had an allergy hit. I don't know whether, if you don't suffer with allergies, you just like get on with the show, Mark. But I think I've had an allergy hit all around my nose, my head. Can't type properly. Anyway, I don't want any pity. But look, I really do think it's important to say this. Ugarte, Man United, in love with United. George Mendes is trying to do the deal. Sander Berge probably walked to Man United. It's not that far from Burnley. But Man United are not going to, under Ineos, rush towards these bad fees anymore. I don't necessarily think I'm on board with that all the time, but I think I'm eyes open to what's going on. I still think that Manchester United will sign Ugarte. I just don't know when it will happen. And I think we need to get used to the fact that this is no longer necessarily what we've had for the last 10 years, where we'd be getting very, very frustrated about it and saying, oh, the deal's not going to happen. I just think it's the way things will work with Ineos now, is that they will take their time on something to get what they want to get. And I think it will work with deals going out the door as well. Because Rob Dawson also said about Scott McTominay that, yes, Napoli are interested and McTominay is open to the conversation, but Man United will not do the deal on a loan deal. Man United want 25 million, and that's what they want. I said this last night. I think with Scott McTominay, after the Fulham game, a lot of things will start to happen. This happens a lot with exits from a football club anyway. You get these players that wait for the first game of the season to see what their involvement actually is. And when the first game of the season comes along and they're not actually involved, they suddenly shit themselves and think, you know what, I do need to start thinking about a move. And I think that's probably what will happen with the likes of Sancho, McTominay, Ericsson, Lindelof, maybe even Maguire, although I think he will start if you watched the preview last night. So yeah, let's see what happens with those. Also, Corriere dello Sport in Italy. This is crazy to me. This is just on the midfield, because we've got a lot to talk about, but we are talking about the midfield, so I'll bring it in. This is absolutely crazy to me. So Corriere dello Sport and a couple of other Italian outlets, to be fair, but we'll go with one that you probably know. Basically, it says Amrabat only has his heart set on Man United. There's a lot of heart and a lot of love for midfielders and Man United that aren't Man United midfielders at the moment. You know, Ugarte's in love with the idea of Man United. Amrabat's got his heart set on Man United. I mean, it's great. We should be very, very flattered. It's like me on Valentine's Day, just getting loads and loads of cards. It's, we should be flattered by it. But again, this is a fresh story this morning in Italy that Amrabat only has his heart set on Man United and is waiting on Man United and will reject Italian clubs or Turkish clubs or any other club because he wants Man United. I mean, look, it's very nice if he was good enough. That's the only... That's the thing, isn't it? It's like Amrabat clearly wants to play for Man United. The question is he actually good enough to play for Manchester United? Because I've never known anything like this, where a player's been on loan at our club, goes back to Fiorentina and is just waiting for Manchester United to come in. And there actually isn't necessarily any talk that Man United are going to go back in for Amrabat. So I'm quite intrigued as to how that one will play out, if I'm being honest. But you know, absolutely fantastic, really, that Man United have that pull, I suppose. There was a statement by Berardo. I'm reading this out to you on the hoof, really, so it could be a load of rubbish. But Man United's new chief executive, Berardo, is looking forward to meeting our supporters for the first time on Friday night. Welcome back to Old Trafford for our first Premier League match, as it's my first game here as CEO. It's an enormous privilege to be taking my seat alongside all of you. I've been anticipating this for months with the incredible atmosphere this stadium is famous for. Wembley was fantastic. It's impossible not to be aware of the weight of history, from the tragedy of Munich to the triumph at Wembley 10 years later. I'm honoured to be part of a place where overcoming the greatest adversities and rising again to the greatest glories is in our DNA. We've had a busy summer with transformation on and off the pitch. We welcome Xerxes, Yoro, Dillit and Mazraoui to the club. 4 excellent talents. Bruno's put his pen to paper and committed his future to the club, and Eric Ten Hag has extended his contract on the back of our FA Cup success. Dan Ashworth, Teresa Wilcox, Okay, it's just a welcome, isn't it? We are building a strong and talented football structure to work with Eric and ensure that we're focused on long-term success. We're also looking to build a world-leading non-football leadership team as well. This is an eventful time for the club. I look forward to it's just that's a program, isn't it? I mean, that's just a hello, I'm the new CEO. Okay, thank you. Look, that's what it is. It's probably not as interesting as I thought it was going to be. Cyber Spider says, morning Mark, while I can't afford what you can, I'll add 50 quid to the donation bet you had on Luke Shaw staying available, but have a pint on me later, says Cyber Spider. Thank you very much, mate. Yes, yesterday I did say that I would donate £500 to charity if Luke Shaw can stay fit from when he comes back from this injury to Christmas Eve. I unfortunately do not think that charity will get the money, but I'll probably give it anyway. Owen Cash, welcome. Thank you very much for your super chat. John says it's my birthday and I'm watching from Australia. Happy birthday, John. Zenny says, hi Mark, just got my A-levels back and it's not looking good, Brev. Thank God I've got my medic job lined up. Keep it up, boss, and get yourself a brew. Thanks, Zenny. Well, you never know. Hopefully get some good results in for you today. Patrick Lynch says, it feels like most ex-United players don't want us to succeed. Seems like they think it will ruin their legacy and we'll forget about them. Being the best in the past is an ego boost and keeps them relevant. I mean, you might be onto something, Patrick. I've never really thought of it like that. Crocodile Man, welcome to the Members Club. Andy Weatherall has gifted a membership as well. Thank you very much, Andy. Joshua says, please do a video with your thoughts on all United players' wages. I think it'd be quite a boring video, Joshua, really. Maybe I can do it on Cameo for you. 15 million is too much for Bert. Ineos just got Ugarte done. Martin, who's Bert? Look, I'm a bit blurry this morning. I think I've got some sort of allergy attack, but I don't know who Bert is. I've been a silent partner in this community since 2014. Today is my 40th birthday. I thought I'd share it with this amazing group. P.S. Love the book, says Richard E. Thank you very much, Richard, and happy birthday to you. Berge, he's talking about Berge. Yes, he's talking about Berge. I'm going to need your help on the show this morning. I can't explain how blurry my head feels and how much my nose is now hurting. I'll tell you, I woke up this morning, I felt great. I had the best night's sleep I've had in 3 weeks because the puppy has now gone through the night without waking up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning for a piss. I woke up this morning, I thought this is going to be a great day, and then I get hit by this fucking allergy shit. Keane's the only ex-player so far to prove Dillit. Woody Colford, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. In other news, this one probably won't please you that much, but it's coming in from Fabrizio Romano. Effectively, Manchester United would be a dream move, and he would also love playing for Manchester United. It's not Dillit. It's, of course, Marcus Alonso, who is currently a free transfer and would absolutely love to sign for Manchester United, according to Fabrizio Romano. Well, I think we can all safely say that most of us would love to play for Manchester United. That doesn't mean we should get to play for Manchester United. The thought of Marcus Alonso tearing it up with Manchester United is absolutely incredible to me. And I don't want to see Marcus Alonso at Manchester United. I feel a little bit guilty for saying it, but really I do not want to see Marcus Alonso playing for Man United. I don't care whether it's his dream move or not, whether that's a bit of PR or not. I just don't want to see it. I do not want to see Manchester United signing Marcus Alonso. And I tell you what, I don't think we will. I don't think we will. We were linked to him last summer. I think he's a free agent who would probably love to play for Manchester United, Monaco, Maidstone United and Macclesfield Town. I think he's just desperate to find a club. And I've said this yesterday, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Our desperation to sign a left back should not be our biggest concern here. We should be looking to buy a left back that can actually perform for us as a left back. Do you still refuse to buy a Man United kit, Goldie, says Robbie Wood. I can't remember the last time I bought a Man United kit anyway. I've bought Seb kits because I don't see why a 7-year-old should suffer. I don't know what the stance is on that anymore. Do you buy kits now because the Glazers are still in charge, but Ineos are buying players? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the rule book. I've never been sent the Man United fan rule book. I've always said it's a personal choice to you if you want to do it or not. I think a lot of people... Look, this is not a criticism. The Glazers still own the football club, and the Glazer out movement died the day Manchester United were bought by Ineos for 28%. The protests, the groups that existed... No, you know, it's... Look, my personal observation is that I don't really understand why it's all suddenly stopped. The Glazers are still there. The debt is still there. Ineos have never said anything about clearing the debt. So, you know, if debt was one of the big reasons you were Glazer out and dividends and everything, well, that's still there. Just because Ineos are there with 28% buying players, the debt's still there. But I think it's too complicated for people to get their head around. And also, I don't think fan opinion is intelligent enough to understand the little levels and alleyways of this multifaceted argument. Ultimately, the Glazer out movement worked well when we were dealing shit on the pitch and doing shit in the transfer market. What this shows us is it doesn't matter who's in control of the club as long as you've got a decent CEO and director of football who talks like they know what they're on about and starts buying and selling players in the right way. We're simple people as football fans, aren't we? Ultimately, as long as the team is exciting and we're getting rid of the deadwood and we're buying the right type of players, we will put up with the debt and the Glazers being in charge. And that's the truth. Nobody even wants me to be saying this. I don't want to be saying this because it's quite negative and we're trying to be positive. But I suppose, you know, if we're being completely honest, why has the Glazer out movement disappeared completely? Because we're getting some shiny new players and there's shiny new statements and we've got a proper board for once. I think everyone's just giving it a chance under the current regime in the hope that Sir Jim Radcliffe's plan is actually to boot them out at some point and clear the debt. I think that's the answer, isn't it? There's just a bit of patience at the moment. Morning, Mark. Are you excited for tomorrow? Says Bendick. We showed some good attacking football against City. I think we can dominate Fulham on Old Trafford. Bendick, I am not going to get like you. I just want to win tomorrow and see what happens. I want Ugarte and get the right midfielder, says Stuart. I love the community, says Netflix and Chilwell. Any chance of a happy 14th birthday to my son Reese? He loves the shows. Plenty of shout outs this morning. Happy birthday to Reese. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much on that. Right, I do want to talk about this. I mean, look, this is the sort of thing we thrive upon in this community. Now, I'm not afraid to call it out how it is. I don't really care if people agree or disagree. We're a community and we should bring conversational points in here that we don't understand or that are topical. I've said before, we've had Louis Zaha, Paul Scholes, Rio Ferdinand, and a lot of the media basically undermining the signing of De Ligt. Even though De Ligt is an Ineos pick that Ten Hag likes, lots of people being very negative about De Ligt. Well, the latest one is Rennie Mullenstein, who was an assistant coach with Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, he has always, in my opinion, been quite negative about Ten Hag. I don't know whether Ten Hag snubbed him for an assistant coach job or something, but he's always been a bit in on Ten Hag, in my opinion. This is what he had to say in an interview yesterday. There is not much left from what we left in 2013, if there even is anything left. The thing I find the most awful is the amount of wrong people that started getting involved with this club. It has changed the entire culture. Fair point. The most important thing you have to do is create a good and strong culture. Sir Alex created a winning mentality culture and made everyone appreciate each other. Everyone had a warm feeling for each other within the club. Ten Hag saying that all the Ajax signings is not just his only idea only. If this is true, then that makes it even more weird. So basically another person involved with Man United saying that buying people that played for Ten Hag is weird. And he's also saying it's even more weird if the club are backing it. The only reason this happens is because of Ten Hag, because he worked with these players and he wants a certain game plan at Manchester United, which he still hasn't been able to execute. So basically going in on Ten Hag again. De Ligt and Mazraoui, two players who raised question marks for me. I've always been a De Ligt fan, but at Bayern Munich and Juventus, he wasn't the undisputed number one. Well, you play two centre-backs there. Mazraoui did well in the Dutch Eredivisie. At Bayern Munich, not much. They now arrive in a league they've never played in, and the Premier League is nothing like any other league. I mean, it's just negativity again, isn't it? Negativity from people that are meant to have the interests of Manchester United at heart. And it's the same old bullshit again. De Ligt basically is a failure from Bayern Munich and Juventus, and Mazraoui is a failure from Bayern Munich. It's weird. I said this the other day. It's weird. Why are Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, Louis Zaha, Rennie Mullenstein, and look, silence is as bad as talking sometimes. I mean, I've not heard Neville come out and say anything positive about it. It's just I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I felt like we turned a corner at the end of last season when a lot of the ex-players actually said we should keep Ten Hag. And then a new season starts and it feels like it's all started again. I genuinely don't understand it. That's why I bring it into this community. I genuinely don't understand what this is all about, because as somebody that didn't want Ineos, because I wanted the Glazers out and I wanted the debt gone, I didn't want Ineos, strongly didn't want Ineos. I felt, I even said the words, they're an enemy of the football club getting into bed with the Glazers. I saw that clip the other day. Somebody was trying to be clever. I don't know why people do that. I don't care if people clip me up from a year ago. I don't care if people clip me up from 6 months ago. Life changes. That's what happens. A year ago, I didn't want Ineos. I had two very clear choices. Glazers out, no more debt, and loads of money coming in. Or Glazers stay, keep the debt, and gamble on a 28% ownership. Of course, I went with the other one. But lost. Didn't get what I wanted and went, look, I'm not a little moany sod. I'm going to just get behind this. That's what I'm going to do. I don't understand why people can't do that in relation to the current United side. You might have wanted Ten Hag sacked, but there is a lot of change going on at United at the moment. And, what's Rennie Mullenstein saying there? He's basically saying that it's weird that Ten Hag wants to bring players in that he's worked with before, and it's even more weird that Ineos want to let him do that. And also saying that, it's clear that Ten Hag wants to bring those players in because he wants to generate a style of play that he hasn't generated already. Well, of course he hasn't generated a style of play already when he's having to use Solskjaer players. The whole point of it is that, I've said this before, the reason they want to bring players in that have worked with Ten Hag before is because they are players that are effectively going to have Ten Hag's back and the coaching setup back. You've got to build that trust and community. And in fact, Rennie Mullenstein completely and utterly contradicts himself, because he spends the first part of that interview talking about the culture that and the warm feeling that Sir Alex Ferguson created. And then he ridicules Ten Hag for trying to do exactly the same. So, all the culture and warm feeling that Sir Alex Ferguson built was got rid of, not by Ten Hag, by the way, by the likes of Moyes. And now he's being critical of Ten Hag wanting to create the same thing in his own way. It's just weird. I find it weird. You know what it's like? I don't know whether anyone else has this at home. I get it, right? Walk into the kitchen. I'm sometimes in a rush. I'll do my little blender breakfast smoothie. I'll have a bit of toast and I'll see the time. It's 10 to 10 and I'll be like, shit, I've got to go and do the 10 o'clock show. So I'll drink the drink, eat the toast, wipe my mouth. We're live. Hello, welcome to the United Stand, right? Go back into the kitchen at 11 o'clock. Always, she's there, Mrs. Goldbridge, and she'll say, oh, you've left the kitchen in a right mess. A right mess. Look at the crumbs everywhere. Look at, oh, you've left the fridge open, this, that, and the other. It's a right mess, right? The puppy will walk in, having pissed all over the kitchen floor. Oh, puppy. Oh, who's a good little puppy? Oh, puppy, puppy. And I'm like, it's pissed all over the floor for the 10th time in the last 10 minutes. I've just forgot to put the toaster away. Oh, well, you're always doing it. Oh, it's not the puppy's fault. Oh. And it's like, that's what I feel about some of the punditry around Man United. If you're a Ten Hag signing or you're Ten Hag, oh, you've left the toaster out. You've not put the bananas away. But Rashford or anybody to do with Man United, Scott McTominay, anything to do with the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Oh, look, they're from the youth setup. Oh, they used to play for Sir Alex. Oh, you know, it's just, it's comedy. It's comedy and it's so true. There are certain things that go on at United where you will always be the little puppy protected. Oh, come here for a cuddle. But anything to do with Ten Hag or a Ten Hag signing, oh, no, you've done it again, haven't you? You've left the lid up. You've left the lid up and you've not flushed it. You know, it is. And I just find it, well, it's bias, isn't it? It's ultimately bias. It's agenda. And it's just so obvious, the contrast between that's not done anything wrong, that has, treat that like a little puppy and shout at that one who's, you know, actually busy trying to do stuff to make things better. I'm doing a 10 o'clock show, I'll tidy it up afterwards. You know, that's just going to keep pissing on the floor for the next 5 years. But you'll pick it up and give it a stroke and say, oh, it's not its fault. It's been shit for 5 years, but it's not its fault, is it? Is it? Is it? You've been from the youth team. Ooh, haven't you? You can't help that you shit yourself every day. Oh, but you can. You can. You might be the main breadwinner in the house, but you bloody left the fridge open. Sometimes these analogies are nothing more than therapy. But it's true. It's true. And look, Rennie Mullenstein did a great job at United as an assistant coach. But there's hypocrisy in that statement. There's hypocrisy in what Rio Ferdinand said. There's a hypocrisy in what Scholesy said. There's a hypocrisy in what Sahar said. They're nowhere near as bad as the shite that Souness and everyone else was talking. But it's the same old thing. Ultimately, what we've got here is inaccuracy and danger and what is ultimately a very, 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 very diluted version of bullying. Because it is basically, if you're associated to this manager or you've played for this manager, we don't care whether it's not true that you got benched by Eric Dyer. We don't care if it's not true that you were shit at Juventus. We are going to basically taint you from day one. And you know what? You could be man of the match against Fulham, but if it deflects in off your arse for a late equaliser, you're shit and you're a flop. That's the way it's going to go. And that's what annoys me about it, is that these players get over-scrutinised compared to others because they don't fit into what this weird agenda is. And I don't actually get what the weird agenda is. I think it's just, I don't get why some of our British players, I mean, look, as predicted, the Luke Shaw injury swept under the carpet. Completely don't talk about it. You can't. It could be bullying. You're not allowed to say anything about Luke Shaw getting injured for England and not being fit for Man United. It'll be very interesting to see if there's any scrutiny of it in the press conference later. You can't say a word about it. You can't say a word about it. But sleeping on the sofa bridge, she won't watch. But the point is that there's just certain conversations that go on, and I don't get... she would divorce me for that puppy, I guarantee it. But the thing is, we know the agenda's there, but I don't really get it. You know, I was trying to think about it. I don't really get why somebody like Louis Zaha and Paul Scholes would have an issue with De Ligt when they won't have watched him play for Juventus and Bayern Munich hardly at all. They just won't have done it. I haven't hardly done it. You haven't hardly done it. There's no way they're doing it. Rio Ferdinand, it might be from Rio because he's a bit of an ego guy. It might be because he helped sign Yoro and Yoro got injured. He might be feeling a bit sore because he didn't help the De Ligt deal and everyone's going De Ligt. He might just be like, oh God, Lenny, and then he's not nothing to do with it. I don't know what that's all about. Rennie Mullenstein, it might be because Ten Hag didn't give him a job. I mean, there's multiple reasons for it, but it does go on a lot. And to what end? To what end, I don't know. It just doesn't fit well with us as fans, does it? Because we ultimately, really, surely, just want Man United to win. I mean, if Scott McTominay comes on and scores the winner yesterday, I still want him to get sold, but I'll still, I'll be absolutely ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic, because I just want Man United to win games of football. And, I can't really understand why it's not even a hidden agenda. As I said last night, it feels to me like they're all waiting for Monday morning where they can go, I told you so, sack this manager, he's a clown. There might even be some people in the football, in the fan base that want to do that as well. And I'm like, you do realise if we sack Ten Hag any time between now and the end of next season, we're fucked. And people don't think about that because it's more about being proved right. Being proved right in today's society is actually more important than actually what's beneficial for the bigger picture. When these journalists out MPs for having an affair or something, you might have, I know this is a rarity, but you might have in your country or in the UK, you might have a governmental minister, potential prime minister, president, who's really, really good at their job. But there'll be a journalist that if they find out they're having an affair, get that on the front pages, destroy their career. Bloke has affair, woman has affair, you lose somebody who's potentially going to be, life-changing for everybody, for your country. But let's chop their legs off because they've had an affair and it's going to sell. That's a very, very big example, but if you think about it from a football point of view, let's just be focused on Ten Hag and all his transfers being a failure, and let's just keep going on and on and on about it until we get rid of him. That's going on. That was going on last season. That's going on. There's some fans who feel like that. There's some ex-players who feel like that. There's some journalists who feel like that. And I would say, look, I don't want that to happen, but have you ever thought about the bigger picture? If you get what you want with Ten Hag and you get him sacked by Christmas with your poison pen or whatever, what happens to Man United? Ineos have invested in Lenny Yoro, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Xerxes, and probably Ugarte by the end of this month. That's a hell of a lot of investment all around Ten Hag and his plan. If Ten Hag's sacked by Christmas, that's 5 players that might not work for the new manager. You've also got to pay Ten Hag off. You've also got to pay the new manager. You've also got to back the new manager. It's also a brand new start again. It's a reset when every other club is probably further down the road. But people don't think of that, do they? They just think, I want to be right. I want to be right. And actually, the worst thing that could happen, if they wanted to get rid of Ten Hag, they should have done it in May, because at least you haven't bought all these players and at least you're resetting in the summer. We can't afford another reset, but there are still people out there, we shouldn't have kept Ten Hag. And I'm like, if you've got the best interests of Man United at heart, this has got to work, because if it doesn't work, it looks bad on Ineos as well. I mean, Ineos need it to work. They've made the decision. They've nailed their flag to the mast. So I just don't, I know I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here, but I just don't understand it at times. I don't understand it. It's T1M. Look, mate, you won't catch me out. The reason I've been moody last week and the week before is because I hardly had any sleep. I've had lots of sleep now. He says dribble bridge, but that's not a response, mate. This community's never been a community where I won't read out the other side. But what do you mean dribble? It's completely true. Rennie Mullenstein's interview is there. Rio said what he said. Scholes said what he said. Lucker's been at it for months. Ducker was doing it as well. They got banned from press conferences. We know it's there. I just don't understand why it's there. I don't understand the day before the start of the Premier League season, where we've got a brand new ownership around the football. There's a connectivity around the structure. There's new players coming in. I don't understand why the negativities are. I mean, what makes you wake up and go, I'm going to moan about De Ligt, who's never played for Man United, or I'm going to moan about Mazraoui, who's never played for Man United, or I'm going to write an article about another Dutch player, but like Xerxes signing for Man United. I'm going to write about all that fantasy Harry Potter shit instead of talking about Luke Shaw, who is injured again at the start of another big season, but played in a major tournament. I'm going to talk about that. You know, it's weird. I find it really, really weird. Can't wait to go on holiday next week and read your book, says Michael Cornish. Thank you very much, mate. We'll get into some of your comments, actually. Dalit and Mazraoui will improve Anthony and Onana, says Steve. I don't know. I mean, Sanel says you can just shut them up with your performance, mate. It's simple. But you can't. You can't, Sanel. You make a great point, but you can't. Because, you know, Dalit could play well for the first 5 games. Makes one mistake, they'll call him a flop. Marcus Rashford can play badly for a whole season. Take a player on, go past him, and he's back. And that's not Rashford's fault, and it's not Delit's fault. It's the media's fault, because they treat players from different places differently. Steve Brown, Fuge says not Anthony. Steve Brown says that Dalit and Mazraoui will improve Anthony and Onana. I think Onana absolutely 100% will be improved by Martinez, Dalit, Mazraoui, Dalot, and Luke Shaw if he ever gets back. I think Anthony's a bigger stretch, because the reason Onana will improve is because he'll be able to play out from the back, and he's brilliant at it. You can't play out from the back well when you're passing to players that don't want the ball. So he's got players who want the ball. He will look better for it. Also, a higher line means he can sweep, and he's very, very good at that. So there are direct conclusions to be assessed from the signings of Mazraoui for Dalit. Anthony, how does Mazraoui improve Anthony? Well, he overlaps, but Dalot did that. He supports him defensively and going forward. Dalot did that. He doesn't put Anthony on his shoulders and start doing the dribbling and the shooting for him, and that's the big problem Anthony's got. You know, there's a lot to Onana's game that will improve with a proper back four. Anthony is still Anthony with the ball at his feet, and that decision making will not be changed by Mazraoui, will it? Ex-players having an agenda so they can say I told you so, says Stuart. And Azad says, Mark, remember the time a few years ago you and me were discussing transfers in the swimming pool? I said Sancho was overrated, and I was correct. I don't know what dream you've been having, mate, but we've not been in a swimming pool talking about Jadon Sancho. That's definitely not happened at all. What else? Backing signings doesn't get views for ex-players, says John. And Robert McCormack says, I think they're saying we're lumbered if Eric Ten Hag goes, says Robert McCormack. Yeah, but I agree with you, Robert. That's why we should be hoping that it works out. When are you back on the football fill-in, says Mark. I think there's a pre-season, and we recorded it yesterday, so it's probably going to go up today. And Bearded Maverick says, you'd almost think the old guard don't want Man United to be successful as they were. Salty Sallies, all of them. Hello, Mark from Australia. I've done that one as well from Cool. Window is so slow, they need something to talk about, says Daniel. And Sinead says, stability is the key to success this season. Got the audio book, have Cerebral, and so I find it easier. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks everyone who is buying the book, and I hope you enjoy it, Sinead, as well. It's a good listen. Love how Ineos are operating in this window, says Kev. We are no longer a pushover, paying above the odds and crazy wages to get the players. Really good to see. We will walk away if the deal isn't right for us, says Kev. And why is the media not criticising Shaw like Pogba, says Vias? Because he's British, mate. The British media are an absolute disgrace, in my opinion. I've said it for years. The way they protect people like Southgate and the British players, and the way they go in on foreign players, if somebody actually analysed it properly, because there's plenty and plenty of detail out there on front pages over the last 10 years, and the correlation between certain players and, you know, other players is disgusting. But, you know, it's the world, it's the country we live in relation to that. They've always been the same, and I think they always will be. But look, bringing it back to Manchester United, I think Kev makes a good point. There is a match tomorrow night. There is a match a week on Saturday, and there is Liverpool after that. We have got now no more pre-season, no more weeks of just transfer talk. We've literally got games that matter in front of us. You know, 3 points at the end of a season is massive. It can be the difference between 4th and 5th. So I think that where we are at the moment, what I'm about to say may well be weighted by the fact that we're playing Fulham tomorrow, and that will generate a lot of anticipation, excitement, and then afterwards a lot of discussion. Because on Saturday, we might be also looking for an Ugarte, here we go, etc. But we'll also be talking about who did well, who didn't do well. What did Ten Hag do right? What didn't he do right? Did he pick favourites? Did he pick the right team? I mean, I was doing my fantasy Premier League team, and based on that, I think there's some really good bargains, but I don't trust Ten Hag not to do... I don't know whether Ten Hag's going to pick Amad and Garnacho, basically. So, but with regards to the transfer window, I think if there was 3 weeks ahead of us with no matches, we probably would be a little bit more agitated about why Ugarte is not happening. But because we know there is only, 2.5 weeks left. 2.5 weeks left. Bloody hell. That's jumped up quick. I'll give you the fancy code in a minute, Peter. I'm trying to read proper comments, but I will give it you in a minute because I've seen it. We'll get that. But it's the 15th of August today. The transfer window closes on the 31st. Or the 1st, I can't remember which. That's like 16 days away. That's 2.5 weeks left of this transfer window. Wow, where did it go? But, you know what? I think that's a good thing. We know there's only 2.5 weeks left. We know we've got games ahead of us. And we know we need to do business. So I think that there is more acceptance of what's probably going to happen, and also less panic because we got those De Ligt and Mazraoui deals done. I still believe, with regards to the transfer window, we could end up in a situation where we do more deals in the next 2.5 weeks than we've done in the last 2.5 months. We've got Mazraoui, De Ligt, Yoro and Xerxes in, and we've got Greenwood, Cambuala and Donny out. So we've done 7 deals in 2.5 months. I could see us doing nearly that in the next 2.5 weeks, because if we get Ugarte, get another midfielder, get a left back, that's 3. Lindelof out, McTominay out, Eriksen out, Mabry's probably going to go. We could easily do 7 in the next 2 weeks. So I don't count Varane, Jeff, because he's out of contract. Oh, Wan-Bissaka's gone as well, so that's 8. But no, I don't count Varane and Brandon Williams and Anthony Martial as deals, mate. They're not deals. No one's getting any credit for that. Their contract ran out. We've not negotiated anything there. We've literally said your contracts ran out. I don't count those as deals. I count them as reductions in the wage bill, but I don't count them as deals because we've got nothing for it. Their contract ran out. I'm talking about actual negotiations. So I do think that we will be active in the next 2 weeks. I think that Ugarte will still come in as of now. I think McTominay probably will go, although I believe it when he's holding up the shirt. Jadon Sancho's a player I missed as well. So I think it's good to see that there's not a lot of panic at the moment. I mean, it might change in the final week. You know, that's when it will get nervy if we're still in the same position. But as of today, Fulham tomorrow is the focus, and there's clearly an appetite to do stuff in the background. And I think we're learning, rightly or wrongly, under this ownership, that they're quite determined to do things their way. Hi, Mark. Unrelated, but look at where Poch ended up, says Hashim. Well, you know, England get Lee Carsley and the United States get Pochettino. I rest my case. FA are absolutely bloody useless. Mark, you're a legend. Good days are coming, says Hanson. Thank you very much for the lovely message. Hi, Mark. I love the content. I tried to buy your book in my local WH Smith on Tuesday, but they haven't put it on the shelf yet. Just thought I would let you know. It's probably sold out, Cab. Probably sold out, to be honest, but links in the video description. You can still order it from WH Smith online and worldwide Amazon, and the audiobook as well. Thank you very much for that. Do you think United will unveil Ugarte at Old Trafford, says Matt? Do you think Rabiot's waiting for us, says Terp? I mean, I love the transfer window. I think it's, you know, obviously very, very interesting to see how it's panned out. I mean, Amrabat waiting on Man United. Rabiot's still not picked his club. Sander Berge probably waiting on Man United. Ugarte waiting on Man United. There's a number of players that are currently, you know, potentially waiting on Man United. I mean, there's a bit of breaking news in the chat here that I think Ugarte is actually in training with PSG, which is contrary to what we'd been previously told. I mean, I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. I really do, because if we do end up buying him, then you don't want him to be somebody that's just been not training properly. So let's have a quick look. I'll try and find that out for you. Manuel Ugarte. There is a... Oh, no, I can't read that. I can't read that. No, it's just a lot of people talking about Man United and Scott McTominay. Pete Hall, who is a freelance sports journalist for Reuters, Sky Sports and the iPaper, says PSG are willing to lower their asking price for Ugarte as the weeks go by. Ugarte pushing for the news. Now, slow sports news with a guy in a top very similar to this saying that Man United target Fofana is close to joining AC Milan. We're not in for Fofana. I mean, that's not slow sports news. That's dead sports news. Come on. That's been reported yesterday that we're not in for Fofana. You can't keep linking Fofana to Man United. We're not in for him. That's not happening. There is a little bit this morning around Ugarte that PSG are open to negotiating a lower transfer fee for Ugarte as time passes, indicating a willingness to compromise on their initial asking price. Both parties want to finalise the deal before the end of the transfer window. I think that's the way it's heading, isn't it, with Ugarte? We've spoken about that a little bit before. I think that's the way it's heading with him. I think we will get a deal done, and I don't think PSG need to feel like they've been robbed. They're trying to rob us. To ask for 60 million euros, which is what you paid for him a year ago, and you want to sell him a year later, you're not going to get that price. So PSG just have to be more realistic. The interesting thing is, I don't think we know what Man United want to pay. Man United might only want to pay 35 million. So I think that we will get there. George Mendes is working on it. We will get there. I just think we need to be content. Content's probably the wrong word. I think we need to be realistic that we won't do that deal before the international break. Mark, I'm taking my 8-year-old to his first game tomorrow night. So excited, says Luke. Lovely stuff, Luke. I can't wait to do that for Seb this season, actually. We've looked at probably the game we're going to do, and he's very excited about it as well. So enjoy that. Wholesome. Love it. Minty, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much. And Harry Kane's waiting on Man United, says Robert McCormack. I don't think we'll ever see Harry Kane play for Manchester United. It's funny, actually, because Seb watches United a lot, but he's never been to Old Trafford to watch a game, and we're going to go this season. But the problem I've got is he wants to watch Harry Maguire play for Manchester United, and I don't know how that happens because I don't really want it to happen. So I'm thinking, do we just pick a Carabao Cup game or a Europa League game? But I don't really want him that to be the first game, really. DiMarzio update on McTominay, says Snake. Well, the last one I saw was that he was... Napoli were trying to get him in on loan. We can't let him go on loan. We need a transfer fee. And I look... I know we've let people like Martial go on loan and Donny go on loan and Sancho go on loan, but Scott McTominay has a value to Man United. People might take the piss out of him, but he does have a value. If you think about last season, the goals against Brentford, there were goals where they were valuable. And to remove that from the squad, I agree with, but to remove it from the squad, you don't do it on a loan deal. You take that value now and you use it for something else. I don't think McTominay going on loan leads to us being able to buy Ugarte. So McTominay has to go for a reason. I'm not obsessed with getting rid of McTominay just to get him out of the club. I want the value of what McTominay's worth, and therefore you need to get a value for it, 100%. Anyway, we've got a big day ahead of us. We've got a fantastic show coming up unless any news breaks. We've got the Ricky and Beth show. Beth's back from her holidays and Ricky's back from his many holidays. This is going to be a great show at 2 o'clock. They're going to be talking with Ricky and Beth about the transfers and getting some very clippable moments, because I guarantee you Ricky probably isn't going to sit there and be completely positive about who we've sold and who we're buying, considering he's a big fan of McTominay and Donny and Martial. So that's going to be great. And then we've got the press conference reaction at just after 4 o'clock with Ten Hag. Hopefully we'll get some good questions as well. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, everybody. Don't forget, Player Ratings is back tomorrow. When do you do a video saying Harry Maguire to leave Man United? Can you have young Seb in the video? His reaction will be interesting. He'll be devastated, Andy. That's just torture. He'd be devastated if Maguire gets sold. Legit. Don't forget to play Super 6. Get yourself registered. Kicks off this weekend. First weekend is a 200 million game-wide whopping prize fund. But each week in our league, we've got £100 to give away. UTD S6. Once you've registered, it's free to register and play. UTD S6. Join our league in the league sections. Get involved with that. It's going to be great fun. We're going to be shouting that out each week. It's 6 Premier League games predictions, and we'll have a running league table and weekly scores as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Fantastic. Getting very excited towards the end of the week. Take care. Speak to you soon. Thanks for your support as always, and big up all those shout outs. Eddie, John, Kaz, his birthday as well. Love all that, and we'll speak to you a little bit later. So take care.